What is something you only know if you grew up poor? You don't know how poor you are until you've been to your rich friend's house. Everything around you can be a toy. My action figure collection included a stick, a mason jar, an off-brand Barbie given to me by an older cousin, and a bunch of melted green army men that looked like a giant. We had the best adventures. This cereal box guitar, found buttons collected in an old tin, empty oatmeal containers with the lid intact, and empty tin cans with a few spoons as drumsticks, et voila, a sibling-cousin jam band. Your mom having to borrow money from you to pay for food, bills. Also the embarrassment of people comparing Christmas gifts with you when they got expensive electronics and toys. I used to hate when teachers asked the class what they got for Christmas. What did you do over the summer? Well, it wasn't vacationing in Europe, that's for sure. You can skip a meal by just going to sleep. Sleep for dinner. Santa discriminates based on income. I guess I broke my hardworking single mom's heart one year when I asked, "Mama, was I not good enough this year?" Santa didn't bring me toys like he brought my friends, and I guess she just responded by asking if I got the things I asked for, like a book and a doll or something, and I said yes, so she said all those other kids must have just been greedy. How to invent foods based on the limited amount of what you already have. Pizza. Grill bread with tomato ketchup, grated cheese and mixed herbs. That McDonald's can be a place for special occasions only. My mind was blown when I found out that McDonald's was cheap lol. Right now I earn quite a lot and have successful business, but still buy food only with discounts. My eyes don't even see price tags which are not red, yellow, orange. Born poor stays poor forever, I guess. Going to your extended family's houses usually resulted in leaving with bags full of tinned food. You just made me remember. My parents were divorced, and when we'd go with my dad for the weekend, the first stop was his brother's and we would always leave with food. I was too young to realize it was because my dad couldn't afford to feed us for the weekend. A slice of bread equals hot dog buns, hamburger buns, biscuit and gravy biscuit, makes a sandwich from any meal, leftover to make it more filling, sloppy Joe bun, dip in soup. Like Eskimos and 17 words for snow, poor Americans have 17 words for a slice of bread. Never having any new clothes of your own, but only worn hand-me-downs from your older siblings. What hamburger helper taste like without any hamburger meat? Walmart is typically 24 hours and is a good place to escape the cold and riff-raff of the streets when you're a homeless kid. Also, back when arcades were a thing, a lot of people would drop coins under the machines, so that was a good way to scrounge for food money. Also learned how to turn the water and power on in empty houses when I was willing to risk getting thrown in jail, which honestly would have been an improvement. My brother and I grew up harsh and with no support system other than each other. We still only have each other, but we made it through and the experiences made us better people. Lunchables, fruit roll-ups and Dunkaroos were the most incredibly luxurious school lunch items, fit for a Saudi prince. Drinking a lot of water before or during a meal makes you feel much more full. I learned this when trying to lose weight, haha. That was a piece of advice my mom gave me. If you feel hungry, drink a glass of water. If it fills you up, then you're not hungry yet. Wear your coat inside to save on the heat bill. Any car 10 years old or newer is new. Making lots of friends meant you could go to other kids' houses and get invited to stay for dinner. I would always sneak something to eat back home for my mom. She never asked me to do that, but I knew she was hungry. Good hygiene isn't always an easy thing to have. I always struggled with this when our well pump would inevitably freeze up in the winter. But the kid a mile up the road didn't have running water. It's a matter of perspective. Rice can be an entire meal. My mom preferred it with butter, cinnamon and sugar. Soak in cornbread if you're cold. Put on another layer. Walk up and down the basement steps a few times. Drink some hot water. Sit on your hands, etc. You can water down skim milk to make it last longer. I still to this day can't drink anything thicker than skim. Gardens are a necessity, not a luxury. Other kids are greedy in their Santa lists. That's the only reason they get more toys from him. Hand-me-downs are your only option, at least until you're the tallest cousin by the age of 10. Garage sales take up a majority of your weekends. Always haggle prices. Dented cans are cheaper. Buy the recently expired or about to expire packaged food for cheap and then freeze it. I.e. yogurt. Expired cake mix works up for mug cakes in the microwave just fine. 3 tablespoons cake mix, 2 tablespoons water, 1 minute in the microwave. A spoonful of peanut butter can be dessert. You wash and reuse plastic silverware and also reuse food containers as Tupperware. What you used to eat growing up is no longer affordable since it became trendy. Superfood. Finding our mum crying in the kitchen counting pennies when you can't afford a loaf of bread. As the eldest of 3, at the time, now 4, I was the confidant. Up until I was 7 it was a constant struggle to afford food, worse between the ages of 5 and 6. You can survive on Kraft macaroni for 3 years. The check engine light really isn't that important. Beans and rice are everything. Parents can be really, really good at hiding how bad it is financially. There are so many alternatives to buying brand new household items. How to really stretch and reuse leftovers. How to make yourself feel more full on less food. Drink a full glass of water before dinner and add cheap fillers to dinner like bread, beans, or crackers. Hunger naps. In America, if a price sticker on the shelf is lower than what it rings at, they have to give you the lower price. So if you know when they change their price tags, you can likely find some that haven't been changed out yet, giving you access to more lower prices since they will already have started putting new ones up, too. This one is morally shaky, but it works. My mom did this one a lot since we lived far from the grocery store and it saved us gas money from going multiple times during different deals. No matter how much you boil rainwater, it always tastes kinda funny. When you're at the end of your pay, it is possible to live off instant coffee and biscuits stolen from the office tea room just so your cat can have food. Kraft mac and cheese and boiled hot dogs is a good quality dinner. Never, ever, ever disrespect Mac dogs. Ever. I still eat that. By choice. There's something about Mac, hot dogs and ketchup that sings to me on a spiritual level. I even introduced it to my nieces and nephews and they love it. The oldest is now 22 and he still asks for it. Of course, we use name brand Mac, beef hot dogs, and name brand ketchup, but still. The crushing fear of asking for anything, even when it was a necessity. My thighs have always rubbed together and I'd only have one pair of jeans that fit, so I'd wear through the thighs in a couple months and end up chafing my thighs for weeks, and try to patch them by crummily sewing socks over the holes. It was a nightmare. Now that I'm financially secure and have like 6 different pairs of well-fitting jeans, I've had them all for well over a year and none have worn through yet. If you eat dry oatmeal and drink a glass of water, no food needed for the rest of the day. That teachers and lunch ladies are godsends. My teachers always asked me if I was hungry, had clothes, etc. The lunch ladies always gave me my lunch and breakfast for free, with extra food, because they knew it was the best opportunity for me to eat that day. How amazingly good toasted welfare cheese sandwiches taste. How awesome your first real pair of name brand shoes, Nike, Adidas, etc. are. Cable television. I could go on all day, but these 3 were, for me, the absolute best. Feeling guilty about getting Xmas presents as a child. What food staples go well together? Ramen, egg, canned tomatoes, elbow macaroni, tomato soup, cheese slices. Being able to feed a family of 4 for less than $2 per meal at the end of every month. Eating at McDonald's was considered a luxury. I think it cost around $25 to $30 to feed a family of 7 at McDonald's back then. Versus for a little bit more, maybe $40 to $50. My mom could buy a small bag of rice and some kind of meat, chicken, pork, fish, and veggies and feed our family of 7 for the entire week. This is all back in 1995. Most likely a buried comment, but getting used to smelling bad. Up until I was around 14 I was only allowed to have 1 bath a week, which was shared water with my siblings. We were so poor we couldn't afford the water bill. After that we had some more money, moved into a new house and I had a shower for the first time. Many people have no idea what really having no money is like. Choosing between what have-tos you can afford and which ones have to wait. And enduring the well-meaning "why don't you just" from people who really just don't understand at all. If you have $10 in your bank account and $10 in your wallet, you can deposit the $10 cash into an ATM to bring your balance up to $20 so you can withdraw it and get your last $10. How to dumpster dive at Toys R Us. Also the value of chocolate milk at school. I used to trade it for a sandwich in case I didn't get dinner. The guilt and anxiety in adulthood when you buy anything for yourself. The need to not feel like you could lose everything at any minute. Limiting your possessions on the chance that any moment you may need to gather everything and leave never to come back. When someone offers to buy your lunch, get the cheapest thing you can stand to eat. When someone at lunchtime doesn't have food, you buy food for them if you can, even if it means you go hungry for the day. Having to look at the price always when going out to eat with friends, family. Ever since I was a child, my mother would always make me choose whatever things were the cheapest or not too expensive, even though we weren't even that poor. I think she was just trying to save money. By all means, that remark stayed with me until today, where I always feel a little bit of shame when ordering expensive food, which leads me to order the cheapest item on the menu even if it is paid by somebody else. Learning how to put someone else's needs before your own and say goodbye to pets at a very young age. Couldn't feed my pets, they were starving, had to quickly find them a new home.